We're following breaking news at this hour. Authorities in southern Russia have confirmed terrorists are behind a deadly bomb blast that rocked the town of Stavropol today. The blast happened about 6 p.m. Moscow time. Police say the bomb was attached to the wall of a cafe, which was closed. 3 bomb explosions occurred within minutes of each other. The latest numbers right now show that at least 10 people were killed and possibly 70 were injured. This happened in 3 very crowded neighborhoods. While 14 million Americans are unemployed and 1 in 7 Americans are living in poverty, one group isn't doing that bad in the midst of this recession. We've told you about how the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor than any other westernized country. And a new report found that the disparity was greater than in places in India. If gendercide continues at the rate it's happening now, by 2021, India will have 20% more men than women. When it comes to India's reaction to Osama bin Laden's death, a lot of Indians are still waiting for Pakistan's government's official reaction as to whether or not they knew that these American troops were going to come in. Ted, I know you supported this law, and so did supposedly 70% of Americans, according to most polls. Is this a slap in the face to you? Is this the beginning of the end for people like you who want to crack down on illegal immigrants? 17 million children in this country are engaged in labor work. Agriculture is actually not included in the Child Labor Prevention Act. Relations between Pakistan and the United States as a result of that incident are at an all-time low. Surrogacy is the latest trend in the outsourcing relationship between the West and India. Since the recession began, doctors here say they've seen a demand for their services quadruple, and most of that interest is coming from abroad. Just on this one block, you see several agencies that are helping people get the right paperwork. The Minister of External Affairs said that they are hoping for a peaceful settlement to happen with the help of the United Nations and other regional organizations. Joining me to delve into this further is Michelle Chosadovsky, Director of the Center for Research on Globalization. Michelle, why is this news now? There is one man who's managed to escape the problem. His name is Mukesh Ambani, and he's worth $27 billion US. In layman's terms, without using SDRs and currency baskets here, if I am an average American sitting on my couch, no, I just want you to break it down for me. Should I be freaking out that everyone's talking about ditching the dollar? I mean, how is this going to affect me? There was also an agreement that was signed today between the 5 countries to give out loans in their national currencies.
It's the sound Americans love to hear. The sound of the latest laptop or the newest netbook. Studies show that these days the useful lifespan of a computer is only 2 years. And every day, Americans dump their junk in the hope of keeping up with the Joneses, tallying up to a total of 3 million tons of electronic waste every year. But where does it all go? Welcome to Selampur, a predominantly Muslim, mostly poverty-stricken area of East Delhi, where thousands of Indians come to turn trash into what they see as a tiny treasure.
My work is collecting these electronic scraps and dismantling them. That's how I make my living.
Muhammad Azam is 32 years old and has been tearing apart this trash for 10 years.
In a day, we get goods worth rupees 400 to 500.
Split between friends, Azam can sell the raw materials and make about $1 a day. Unlike regular trash that can simply be tossed away, in many developed countries, including parts of the U.S., electronic waste must be sent to a special collection agency that is supposed to responsibly recycle the parts. However, while it can cost these agencies anywhere from $15 to $30 to properly recycle a computer, they can actually make the same amount if they ship it to a developing country like India, where eager buyers think they can turn a profit on the goods.
Delhi is fast becoming one of the biggest e-waste dumping sites in the world. Trash from developed countries comes here to India, where those with few options for survival hope to cash in on this junk.
And even though it's illegal under the Basel Convention to ship hazardous material to India, companies define the junk as secondhand goods or mixed metals to customs officials to get away with it.
Many countries feel that they need the second-hand computers because they feel it's low way of putting computerization in the country. But what they get in exchange for that is really junk.
Ravi Agarwal is the director of Toxics Link, a group dedicated to protecting migrant workers from the dangers of electronic waste.
In Delhi, workers hammering away, putting strong acids, exposing themselves to fume, all kinds of occupational hazard.
It's a reality most of these workers know all too well. But for them, it's a dirty job that, at least for now, gives them a means to survive.
I know what I do is not good for my health, but I have no other source of income. No other job, so I have to do something or the other.
A horror that those with no choices are sometimes forced to accept. Priya Sridhar, RT, New Delhi, India. Mohan Kumar revs up his engine for a day of fishing off the coast of Kerala, the southernmost state in India.
I studied in school until the 7th grade, but then I had to leave school because we were not economically well off, so I had to help my dad with fishing.
Kumar is one of thousands of fishermen in the state who wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to earn a living. For decades, fishermen like Kumar relied on luck and prayer to find a good catch. But all that has changed since the introduction of the mobile phone in the state more than 10 years ago.
If the fish is not available where we go fishing, fishermen in other parts of the sea call us and tell us where we might be able to find a good catch. Then we go to that particular place.
In addition, because of the new ease of communication, Kumar is able to find out how much demand is at his local market and the prices the buyers are offering in order to determine where best to sell his fish. Today, he is making double the amount of money he was making before he started using a mobile phone. He now owns his own boat and says he is able to send his 3 daughters to college.
India has the fastest growing mobile phone market in the world, and the most growth is happening in rural areas. What may be seen as a convenience in the West is being utilized by Indian fishermen, revolutionizing their business and turning them into entrepreneurs and businessmen in their communities.
Most of these fishermen have been doing this work for generations and never imagined they'd become so tech-savvy. They had watched their fathers and grandfathers come home from sea several times with no fish at all. But today, that never happens.
There's a lot of difference between the times when we used to go fishing with stick boats and now when we go fishing with engine boats. After the arrival of the phone, it's become easier for us.
Studies show that mobile phones aren't just empowering the fishermen in the community. More competition means better prices for consumers. On average, they've fallen by 4%. It's a new quality of life for the people of this community who never dreamed that they would escape poverty.
Most fishermen are illiterate, but we want to give a proper education to our children, and that is possible because of the earning we get from the fishing business. There's no doubt that mobile phones have helped.
Providing new opportunities by advancing their tradition with technology. Priya Sridhar, RT, Kerala, India. On every corner in his neighborhood, Vicky Ganju can see mosques, women dressed in hijabs, and men working at halal butcher shops. It's part of the culture of Srinagar, Kashmir, ever since 1989, when an alleged Pakistan-backed insurgency began in the area. Today, 95% of the people living in Kashmir are Muslims. Vicky Ganju, a Hindu from a caste known as Pandits, is one of the exceptions.
We faced many problems, the biggest being the destruction of our house. Then our father passed away. I had to shoulder all the responsibilities of my family at a very tender age.
Ganju says his family's house was burned down during a period of particularly heated communal violence. The Indian government has said that around 200 pundits were killed in the 10 years since the insurgency began. But other organizations say the number of killings could be as high as 3,000. As a result, Ganju witnessed a mass exodus of his people.
In the past 20 years, hundreds of thousands of pundits have migrated from Kashmir, causing the population to shrink from 100,000 to around 3,000. While many have started to come back, most say they still face discrimination.
Despite obtaining a master's degree since his father's death, Ganju says he has been unable to hold down a steady job and has been living in a tiny, unheated room with his mother and brother. Because of their tiny numbers in Kashmir, many pundits like him believe they will always be largely ignored by those in political power.
There is no hope, but if the government comes up with any packages for us, there is some possibility. Otherwise, even the remaining few families will also move out of Kashmir. I think I will leave Kashmir.
Other pundits, however, are more optimistic. Vijay Sas left the Kashmir Valley more than 20 years ago. He's now back and is looking forward to a chance to reconnect to his past.
I will not leave a chance to fight back, because this is my right. Nobody can deny that. whether he's from majority, minority. I belong to this place, and this place belongs to me.
While Sass acknowledges the struggle his people have endured, he has faith eventually more pundits will decide to return.
We expect, not today, basically this is very small thing to say in the next 10 years. I'm telling you, after 100 years, the Kashmiri Pandits will be still here. I may not be here, but the Kashmiri Pandit name will be here. And I believe that.
Taking pride in their religion and returning to their roots. Priya Sridhar, RT, Srinagar, India.